my people, and if you're watching live, checking us out on YouTube, or listening on your favorite podcast provider, you are most definitely my people. Welcome to another episode of Botched Spots and Chair Shots. I'm your host, a chef by trade, no mark by choice. I am the Will Gray, and joining me tonight, she is the shaman of ShElite. She is the sultan of Step On Me. She is host of Inside the Mind of Storytime with Katie Kinsey, baby. In the crowd, ShElite Showcase. She is the co-host of the #1 horror and #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub. She is Miss Katie Kinsey, baby. How are you?
Your girl's tired.
The hardest working woman in show business, man. You do more than I do, and I work every day.
I do a lot.
You're all over the place. Just everywhere. Doing things.
Yep.
And joining me tonight, he is host of Cam's Wrestling Corner. He is the upcoming host of the new Rivet City radio show, covering Dynamite Weekly. He's one of the off-the-top media boys. He is Mr. Cam G. Cam, how are you, brother? Welcome back.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's been a long weekend for wrestling and things alike, so I'm kind of mentally exhausted. So,
Jamie, thanks for the sub. Al and I were talking about it. Starting last week on Monday on Raw, it was wrestling all week, then Collision, then Forbidden Door, then wrestling all the way through until Saturday. So it's literally like 14 consecutive days of shows. It's a ridiculous stretch of wrestling right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And then we all have to play Fight Forever.
Fight Forever. That's that game. That's that make-believe game. What's up, Dan? That's supposed to be happening, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Allegedly.
Allegedly. And she's here, perched upon her iron throne, as always, in the Boss Bitches Corner. She is the Beyonce to my Hova, the Bonnie to my Clyde. She is the brains behind the operation. Miss Al. Al, how are you?
I agree with Katie in that I am tired. That's so good. Fuck.
We've got to get back into the habit of running on Sundays in our normal slot. The last 2 weeks being thrown off because of, it was Father's Day. Wasn't it Father's Day 2 weeks ago when we missed?
Last week was Father's Day. The week before...
No, it was Father's Day, and then last night was Forbidden Door. So it was two Sundays in a row where we've had to miss and run on Mondays instead. I agree. I'm excited for Sunday, getting back on our normal night. But we're here. We're going to go through the motions, muscle memory. So I always ask the same way every time. What has you pissed off for greatness this week in the world of professional wrestling? Katie?
Ronda Rousey just existing.
Yes.
I cannot stand her. She is mediocre on the mic, mid at best in the ring. I love Shayna. Like, let me just put that out there. I love Shayna Baszler to death. Shayna was fantastic in NXT. Could have been that same type of dominant heel on the main roster. They chose not to do that. That's on them. But, like, Ronda's just the fucking worst. I can't. People are like, oh, but like it'll bring attention to the tag titles. No, it won't, because they're treated like garbage. Why do you think 2 people walked out of your company? Make it make sense.
Right?
That was just over a year ago now, wasn't it? Like a year and some change?
Yeah, it was a year ago, a few weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, April or May, I think.
It was the same, like, either day or week that Raquel and Liv had to relinquish the titles because Liv got hurt.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. I saw a tweet or something that went up. It was almost to the day.
Yeah. So. Fun.
Cam, what about you? What has you pissed off for greatness this week in pro wrestling?
So I think I've got 2 things. One, it's the whole Finn Balor and Seth Rollins feud. I feel like it could be so much better. It could be so much more. But they're really trying to put, like, I did see from Raw tonight. I did see like the little video package or whatever that they had with Finn Balor, and that was cool. But like, it doesn't feel as if, because I already know he's not beating Seth. Like that's just what I feel. I don't think he's going to beat Seth. So I think this would be a lot cooler if this was like Finn's redemption story, because that's what they're trying to build it up as. But I'm not invested in Finn and Seth's storyline, so I just feel like, and then of course, they had the whole promo, and then the crowd just kept singing Seth's song. They just drowned him out. So I was like, that was his moment. That was his moment to really like convince everybody that this is my moment to redeem what I lost 7 years ago. So that kind of sucks. So it now it just seems kind of forced. Another thing probably would be just Charlotte Flair. I mean, it's just she came back some weeks ago and she just skips the line again, and I don't understand it. Like, I get it. I'll give her credit. She's gonna go down in history as one of the most, technically gifted or most athletic female superstars we probably have ever seen. But that's not an excuse to just have her skip everybody who's been there since she's been gone since Mania, and then just, oh, I won a title shot. Oh, I am the line. Like, come on, man. Like, you're making your women's division look like a joke. You got to push new stars. You got to. So I'm praying that she does not beat Asuka for the title. That's gonna suck. So those are what I'm pissed off at right now. So
I like him.
I thought you guys might vibe well. I like Asuka just about no matter what. I like Charlotte just about no matter what. I think if Charlotte comes back now, though, and takes the belt from Asuka, one, it makes Asuka look like a transitional champion, which she isn't. She's bigger and better than that. And then two, if Charlotte comes back and wins, then it means nothing for building number one contenders. I don't have anything to drink, Jamie. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't even see that. I was already taking a drink.
Yeah. She didn't. I think it takes away all the build for number one contenderships if she just comes in and calls her shot. Yes, she's a Flair. Yes, she's big. I've said a few times, like, are people bigger than the titles? Do you think Charlotte's bigger than the title where she doesn't need it anymore?
Charlotte just needs to stay the fuck away from the titles.
Facts.
Jamie's drinking for us. Good. As soon as I get off air, I'll probably drink some bourbon and go to bed. Al, what has you pissed off for greatness in pro wrestling this week?
So, my thing is that you could keep some kayfabe sometimes. So this past weekend, we love to watch the WWE Hidden Treasures show. It's fantastic. If you don't watch it, it's on A&E. No free shoutouts. It's a cool show. My piss off for greatness is they did Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. Super dope. What's not cool is that Dom was on it with Ray. Like, they fully showed that Dom still lives at home. We know we know, obviously, that Dom still lives at home, yada yada. But, this is a WWE produced show. You could have just not had Dom on. He wasn't necessarily needed. But, it was just why?
But, well, how long ago did they film this? Because, this could have been way before he turned.
It was within the last year, so it wasn't... Oh, okay. It was after he's turned, so... Because he's been turned for, almost 2 years now? I don't even know anymore.
Jamie says, I think this was filmed before the rivalry really took off, just by judging by his hair.
So it could have been, while he was, teasing to turn, maybe?
Maybe. Then they could have waited or just done, I don't know, just, they knew that storyline was coming. They could have...
His turn was last summer.
They should have just released him when he's a babyface. That would make more sense.
Yeah. But, since they inducted Ray to the Hall of Fame this year, I guess, that's why, yada yada. But, it was a really cool episode regardless, but it's just grr. Yeah.
I love the fact that 3 years ago, a little over, 2 and some change now, you didn't really watch pro wrestling at all, and now you've gone from that to being a co-host weekly of a wrestling podcast and you're arguing about how they're not keeping kayfabe on TV. Like, I love the story arc here for your character and all of this. So, I don't really have anything that has me pissed off for greatness. There's a lot of irony in, I'll just say it. There's a lot of irony in a podcast network that nobody wants to be a part of, hosting a world champion that nobody likes. I think that's the most PC way to put it. I think that's what has me pissed off for greatness, because Tyrus won't fucking answer my phone calls. So, that's that. There's really nothing you guys can say for that. That's just me being petty. I'm sorry.
I mean, yeah, you're allowed to be petty when some weird little dinosaur man doesn't want to come on your show.
I just want to ask him why he hates everybody. Because he does.
I hate
Tyrus,
everybody.
you hate everybody, but you do it eloquently, Katie. He does it like the wrong way. Fuck Tyrus and fuck PWC. I'll say it. That's not a big get, Will. It's not a big get, but I still want to talk to somebody who's held the 10 pounds of gold. I can have a notch in my belt. Aldous said yes, but now I can't interview him until fucking Ross says so, because he's at Impact now. So.
Cardona. Didn't he hold it?
Cardona said we were too small.
Cardona told me...
Oh, gross.
Yeah, he told me in 2021 that we were too small, and he told me most recently that he didn't have time. So we've at least graduated to him telling me he doesn't have time for the interview, versus him just outright being like, no, bro, you guys, I don't even know who you are.
Before he was just like, now he's just like, one.
Noob says NWA is going well as of late. I completely agree. I know Noob, you and I both absolutely love the Russian seductress that is Natalia Markova. Big fans of her. She's great. She did great with... I just brain farted. The NWA Women's World Champion, Camille Brickhouse. Like, she had a great match with Camille at the Crockett Cup. So
for the Tombstone title.
For the Tombstone title.
If you know, you know.
All right, Al, I'm going to pass this up to you now. Let's talk about some news and rumors. Let's see what's happening this week in pro wrestling.
WWE holds major creative meeting regarding Vince's involvement with live shows.
I mean, Vince straight up told everybody that he's not leaving creative. So, like, why are we surprised? Anybody? Like, I'm not happy about it, but he's there.
Ari Emanuel said something eloquently like, as long as Vince McMahon's breathing, he'll be the CEO of WWE. So I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to get him out of creative, but it's at least a good attaboy for Triple H to get him in front of the class and be like, hey, you know, like, it's like when Jim had to get in front of everybody at the office and explain that him and Michael as co-managers had the same job, so he made Ryan go to the office in the kitchen. Like, that's what Triple H is doing now. He's holding a staff meeting just so he can be like, I'm the boss too, damn it. That's what he was doing today.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a power struggle right now, I feel like, between them two, because Triple H wants to take creative one way, and then Vince wants to take it in another direction. So, but I don't know. Nothing surprises me anymore with Vince. I mean, obviously, we already know he's the real life villain. That's why he's rocking a pencil mustache now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I feel like, along with the power struggle, I feel like it's the company trying to stop Vince, or at least limit him from just this randomness that he comes up with in his own wacky creative mind. And I use the word creative loosely. So, but yeah, it's weird. He's never going to leave creative. That's not going to happen.
As long as he's alive, he'll be in the business in some way. Oh, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think I would stretch it to say that it was like Jamie said in the chat. Vince has been cooking as of late, one bad show and everybody flips out. I don't think it's been one bad show and everybody flips out, more than it is you can tell a very distinct difference in the way the shows run if they have Vince moments and if it's a full Triple H show. And you can look at the amount of changes that came out from behind the scenes on Friday. You know, Sean Ross Sapp and some of those guys started reporting as early as noon or 1 o'clock that they were making major changes to SmackDown. So, like, you can see there's a visible difference in the way the show's run when Vince is putting his 2 cents in and when he's letting Triple H drive the boat.
Right.
Yeah, you could tell that Vince had his hand in SmackDown because Lacey Evans was on the fucking show.
Lieutenant Lingerie, you call her by her real name.
She can kiss my ass too.
I would pay to watch that, just for the record.
William.
She is a crazy trashy bitch, and that's just all there is to it. Like, I just can't with her on, like, please go away. Her and Rhonda can, like, get on the bus together and, like, go somewhere.
I think Vince. I think it's gonna start a trend. I think Vince is going to start changing things for at least one show before or after a major pay-per-view. So, like, he did it for that horrendous Raw after Mania. He did it now. We got Money in the Bank coming up. So he's not stupid, obviously. I feel like he wants to feel important when the company is going in another direction without him. He wants to be like, no, this is still my company. No, you're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. I still have say in this company. I'm still, as you said, breathing, unless he comes up with another exploding limo storyline. I'm still breathing. So I'm going to produce a show, and I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Jamie says, Sergeant Slaughter was stolen valor. Lacey Evans is the real effing deal. Like, I don't take away anything that Lacey Evans did in the military. Like, that's fantastic. My problem with her gimmick is I think that it is disrespectful to the military how she dresses for that character. Like, there's a way that she can still, like, make it a little sexy, but not trashy. And I think her behavior in that role is also a problem. Like, the fact that she has, you know, stolen signs from kids with Down syndrome and, like, all the other terrible, awful things that she's been doing. Like, that's my problem. It's not necessarily the gimmick itself. It's just how she's acting while doing it.
Like a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Dan said, Lacey just needs to be herself as her gimmick, and she would probably be fine.
Nah, Southern Belle.
Sassy Southern Belle literally was about to say the same thing.
That was so good. Like, they didn't have to stray from that in any way, shape, or form. It was different. It was something we really hadn't, like, seen. And, like, the music slapped.
Noob says there's going to be a lot of people pissed off if Charlotte beats Asuka on Friday. I'm assuming you mean Saturday at Money in the Bank, because I can smell a lot of Asuka.
Their match is on Friday. That's not at Money in the Bank.
Is it on Friday? Okay, I thought it was on Money in the Bank. Noob's right then. I'm sorry, Noob, because I can smell a lot of Asuka stands in panic mode. I agree. I think if Asuka beats them, or if Charlotte beats Asuka, there's gonna be IWC's gonna be in a fucking meltdown mode.
I was gonna start drinking.
To what Chad said, so just a question, you want her to check who she's stealing signs from as a heel before she does it? In this instant, like, in that particular instance, it was pretty obvious, like, she was doing it to be, you know, be nasty.
I'm calling you on your bullshit. You can't in one hand say, oh, they're killing kayfabe, and then in the other hand be like, don't be a heel bad guy and rip up a sign.
It's fine to rip up a sign, but, like, you know, take 2.5 seconds to take a look at the person you're taking the sign from. That's all. Like,
fair enough.
So, I believe it's just them trying to push this. She's trying to be the female Sergeant Slaughter, because, you know, Slaughter was with Iron Sheik and he was a heel and he had turned against his nation and things like that. That's what they're trying to do. How well that's going to go over, I'm not sure. Even Sergeant Slaughter himself doesn't like it. He's not really crazy about it. I think she even started using Slaughter's finishing move, I believe. So he's not right, exactly. So he's not really crazy about it either. Me personally, I don't really. I mean, whether the current gimmick or Sassy Southern Belle, I never really cared about Lacey Evans. I'm sorry, like she's just plain to me. Like I'm a stickler for somebody who is all about the character. You have to convince me that what you're doing is something that, like, I don't even know how to put this, but like that's something that I can connect with. Like I can see this on TV and go, okay, that person's got something. Like an MJF or a LA Knight. Like you have to be captivating enough for me to actually be invested in what you're doing on screen. And I just never really got that with Lacey Evans. Like, yeah, she's decent in the ring, but the characters they've given her thus far has just not worked for me.
Yeah.
She's the female Baron Corbin in a lot of ways. Like, they keep trying to repackage her, like, trying to find something that'll stick.
And nothing does.
And nothing ever sticks.
Right.
Next up, NXT is thriving under Triple H and Shawn Michaels. All signs are pointing towards a 3-brand Survivor Series again. I think this would be dope.
Well, seeing as how NXT swept last time they were involved, might as fucking well.
That was 2019, and that was such a banger pay-per-view.
It was.
Oh, that was the War Zone with Team Ciampa versus Undisputed Era, and KO came out, and then Survivor Series was the next night, and it was that fucking banger Bruiserweight versus Adam Cole match for the NXT title on Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
The Roderick Strong match against Styles and Nakamura, like all of it. Who was it? It was Shayna Baszler versus who were the women's champions at the time? Becky and Bayley?
Think so, yeah.
Or was it Becky and Charlotte?
It was either Becky and Bayley or Becky and Charlotte, but it was just such a stacked ass card from top. The sleeper tag team match on the pre-show where it was like New Day, Undisputed Era, and who were the Raw tag team champions? Like Authors of Pain or somebody ridiculous, crazy, but it was like nothing but just bangers, and it was so good. If they go back to that, I'm here for it, 1000%.
Yeah, that was during the golden era of NXT for sure.
Yeah, yes it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was. Becky and Bayley were champions at the time. Thank you, noobs. So we were right. Yeah, Becky Bayley and Shayna Baszler.
Kurt Angle said on his show, contrary to his dad's report, Randy Orton is recovered and ready to return.
Keith, let's go.
I looked up the transcript from the episode when I saw the headline, and pretty much Kurt is talking from the perspective of being like Randy's friend. Like, he's talked to Randy, he's had the surgery, he's recovered and been through rehab, like he started taking bumps. He's not full contact yet, but like he's working out and stuff again. So the initial report that his dad said a few weeks ago that the doctor suggested maybe never returning, and then he also followed it up with Randy's going to do whatever the fuck Randy wants to do. I think that's more of the side of things we're leaning towards now.
Good.
I think it's I got to give him credit for just the sheer perseverance, because I feel like most people hearing that from doctors would probably crush them. Knowing Randy and knowing how long he's probably done this, he probably heard that from doctors and just looked at them like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like you're not gonna tell me like when my career is over. I'm gonna find a way to battle through this and come back stronger. So if I'll believe it when I actually see it, because right now I'm still in doubt, even despite what Kurt Angle is saying. But if he does actually come back, that'll easily be one of the biggest comebacks, because it's been anticipated for however long he's been gone now.
Over a
I've
year.
been.
Whoa. Okay. Let's just go ahead and knock out the next one.
Chris Hero backstage working on an interim status with AEW. More experience for their coaching circle.
I mean,
I like Chris Hero.
Not surprising.
That's one of those things Tony Khan's shown, that he's starting to bring people in that have an eye for the business. So I think it's just more assets for him and his circle of people.
Right. Yeah, I like the move too. I was definitely a fan. I didn't know so much of his stuff as Chris Hero, but I got familiar with him when he was Cassius Ohno in NXT. So yeah, but if he comes in and he's helping to help out the company, I think that's great. I think that's great for creative. I think that's great for talent development. So I think that's a W, another W in the win column for AEW.
I think so as well. His Ring of Honor stuff was real good. Like he was one of those pro wrestlers that were coming through Ring of Honor at that point, with like your Daniel Bryans and your young CM Punks and your young, Trevor Black. What that his name? His name when he was
Tyler Black.
Tyler Black. Trevor Lee.
Trevor Murdoch.
No, Trevor Murdoch. Trevor Lee was
Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes before. So I was combining the names.
There's a lot of things that just happened.
Everything. Yeah, everything happened all at once.
Every time.
Chris Hero's a good get. Way to go, Tony Khan. He'll be good in the back. Good asset.
Kevin Nash said this week on Click he wanted to have an NWO Nitro. Do we think a WCW brand split could have worked?
I didn't watch WCW in any way, shape, or form. I have watched one pay-per-view. No, hey, that doesn't matter. Regardless, I have watched one WCW pay-per-view thanks to Pretty Kyle. So I don't know if it would have worked. I have no idea.
So, in a nutshell, Katie, I'll explain to you pretty much the entire history of WCW from that era. So essentially, the NWO was like, the biggest faction probably in wrestling at that point. They got so big to a point where they arguably got bigger than the actual company itself.
Okay.
And so it caused a lot of problems because obviously they started booking themselves to win matches and things like that. And pretty much the inmates are running the asylum, essentially. So it was a chaotic scene during that time. Now, on to what Allison had said. A brand split, I think it would have been, I don't know about a brand split, maybe like a one-off pay-per-view like what DX did like back in the 90s or whatever. They had like that one-off DX pay-per-view or whatever. That was pretty cool. And it was cool because they involved, it wasn't just them, like they involved, it wasn't, the roster was involved,
Mm-hmm.
If they did a brand split, again, with what I just said, with the inmates running the asylum, I feel like they would have gotten even more mad with power and would have just had just all 55, 60 plus guys who were part of the NWO at that time, just running that show into the ground. So I would have given it probably 4 episodes and it would have been probably off the air because people would have gotten sick of that real quick. So
I think that I think it was going into 97. It may have been 98. There was talks of a attempted brand split, and I think it was the calendar year of 97. All WCW pay-per-views were branded WCW NWO. So, that was the closest they got to the actual brand split. I wrote about, echoing into the chamber, a lot of the same things Cam was saying. This was around that time when I say WCW made one of their biggest mistakes, which was handing Kevin Nash the pencil, actually. When he started booking for WCW, that's when you saw a lot of the decline start. You saw things like him beating Goldberg's streak and him taking the mask off of Ray and the finger poke of doom and all of these really terrible things. I call them yucky. I say some of the things Kevin Nash did as a booker just made me feel yucky. And this was all around that same time. So I think had the NWO-WCW split happened, we would have just seen that turned up to 11 on a much larger scale. Because he would have been running, the entire show like that, not just his segments.
Agreed.
Sure. Yeah.
I was old enough to watch WCW because it's like dirt And then me, I'm just like 5. I'm not older than Dirt. I'm like 5 minutes younger than Dirt.
What does that say since I'm 2 months older than you?
There's people, I mean, it's like Will,
Damn, he's calling you old, Allison.
Dirt, Allison.
Wow, that's fucked up.
A lot happened in those 3 months.
Lord. Bryan Danielson breaks his forearm 10 minutes into the main event of Forbidden Door. Finishes the 40-minute match anyways. That's like
That's wild.
dedication.
It's toughness. It really is to put on a 40-minute match, and you break your forearm so early on in the match. I had already heard that he was already dealing with some nagging injuries already. So, for all we know, when his forearm could have already been injured or nagging injury before going into this match, and he just made it worse going into this match. So, yeah, like I said, he's just that is just the reason why the man is one of the best on this planet right now in terms of wrestling. He goes above and beyond to put on one of the best matches. So,
Katie?
I mean, it's Bryan Danielson. And the fact that he even said it in the scrum, which was a time, that he broke it because of an elbow drop. Like, it's because his arm was just in the wrong spot. So it's like he went on to explain, like, it's something as simple as that, a move you do X amount of times, so many times, not, what people are complaining about on Twitter right now with Ospreay and Kenny. It's not typically moves like that would hurt you. It's, like he said, like when Cena tore his bicep on a hip toss, it's shit like that. It's common things that you do. That's the business. It happens. And Bryan's a fucking champ. So
I'm dropping the episode tomorrow. I just did the interview tonight for Michael Wayne. And I had him specifically because I wanted to talk about the story of him breaking his neck. And I know that sounds kind of morbid, but it was a really elaborate story. And he talked about it. He broke his neck taking a simple DDT. Like, wrapped up, dropped back. And it was just the matter that instead of hitting, towards the top of his head or whatever, like, he hit the way he described it, he just hit the wrong part of his head. And it broke his C6 vertebrae. And he was like, I almost know, like I could have been paralyzed. All of the things. And it wasn't his fault or the guy he was wrestling's fault. It was just wrong place, wrong time. And it shows the professionalism of the dragon, as it were. Because you see a lot of guys that, wouldn't be able to finish a match or wouldn't even try to. And not only that, he went out there and put out, arguably match of the night, pretty close to it. The Omega Ospreay match was good. I'll give him that was probably my match of the night. But I mean, Okada Danielson was right there. The rest of the show was good. It was really a battle between those two, though. So Bryan Danielson's heart, by pounding through it, shows everything. I mean, I agree with Katie said. He, like I was referring to Flair earlier, the American Dragon is 100% bigger than the title. He doesn't have to have a title to be a star.
I mean, you can say the same about Cody Rhodes. He wrestled with a torn titty. Like, that thing was gone.
That thing was hanging off the bone.
I mean, they told him he couldn't hurt it more.
You can hop on, Mateo. I'm not sure how much longer we have, but even if you just come on and say hi, you can.
I mean, we're still in news and rumors.
Yeah.
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 Come on down, Matt.
come on down.
Well, I will wait. Should I wait or should I go?
Go ahead and go.
Speaking of Shmini Omega and Will Ospreay.
Sorry, who?
I don't know. Again, tired and shenanigans. Ospreay Omega 2 tore the house down. Is this a one-horse race for match of the year now?
I think it is. It was easily the best. It was easily the best match I think I've ever seen, and it's got to be the best match of the year. Got to be. I don't see what's topping that. I really don't. They went out there and put on. I can't even call this a banger because that doesn't describe it. Like it was incredible. Those two guys went out there and they went to war. At one point, I'm watching the match and I'm like, am I even watching wrestling anymore? Like what am I witnessing? Like this is incredible. Like those two guys are easily the two workhorses, I think, of professional wrestling. In AEW, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, it doesn't matter. Those guys are easily two workhorses of professional wrestling right now. This is something that 10, 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be telling our grandkids, great-grandkids about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to be telling them, like this was our Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat type. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this is for this generation. It's insane. So, incredible match. It's easily my match of the year, for sure.
So, like, I didn't watch the first match they had this year because, like, I don't watch New Japan. If you know me, you know that I ain't got time. That's my co-host. That's all her. But like, obviously, I saw clips and shit on Twitter because that's just how Twitter works now. Watching that match, that's the first like full on. I mean, I don't watch a lot of Ospreay stuff. I will say his theme slapped. I had it on Spotify today because I was like, okay, Ospreay, let's go. Which, like, TK knows what he's doing with themes. I don't know if that's in your news and rumors, but, like, that man knows. Oh, look at him. He's also showing shoulder. That's my gimmick, Matt.
Mateo.
Gimmick infringement.
Mateo's here, everybody. It's the Warden.
Is he a little delayed?
When you first show up, I have to put you in the chat so you show up on my screen first. I get a notification that's like, hey, Matt's here, but then I have to actually like add you for you to show up on my end.
Because Katie was freaking out about my shoulders well before you noticed I was here.
Well, that was why I was like, nobody else is showing shoulder except for her. Matt must be here.
Yeah.
And I was right.
My gimmick.
Welcome in, Mateo. How was work?
Well, good. Did I miss all the Backdoor Sluts 9 talk? Or is that still
We're working on it. We're still working on Backdoor Sluts 9.
Okay.
No, we're on 8 right now. We're not there yet.
Oh, shit.
We're on Kenny Omega Ospreay 2. Do you think it's going to be match of the year?
Me?
Yeah.
You know what you're asking? You're funny.
I'm sure people might consider it match of the year. I would have had to have watched it to know.
Did you watch Forbidden Door at all?
I did not. No.
None?
None.
Oh, I can't wait for the next segment then. I can't wait for the next segment when we finish news and rumors before we wrap this up. Yes. This is going to be... I picked some of these moments specifically in hopes that you were going to be here tonight. Just so I could watch you go. I can't wait. Al, what you got for us?
CM Punk is a bigger heel in Canada than Shawn Michaels, apparently.
Perfect timing, Matt. What you think?
I love our brothers to the north, but I've always considered Canada just greater Wisconsin, so it does not surprise me that up there in greater Wisconsin they hate on anyone from Chicago, especially someone as fantastic as CM Punk, so not a surprise.
I don't know. I've given my takes on CM Phil. I'm over it.
As a matter of fact, it actually doesn't make sense because if Punk is like anybody, he's like Bret Hart, so they should actually fucking love him. He has way more in common with Bret Hart than he does Shawn Michaels or anyone else. Bret Hart's still bitching about Goldberg 30 years later. Like,
yeah, Goldberg fucking sucks. That's why.
This is also true. It is known. Cam, what do you think about CM Punk?
Okay, so first of all, I'm a huge CM Punk guy. So
I like him already.
Love the guy. Now, I find it hilarious that if it doesn't matter if he's getting booed, if he's getting cheered, he loves it. I think he actually loves getting booed more than he actually likes getting cheered. The entire night, he had a smirk on his face, like he loves it. He loves it. So I think it's genius, and yeah, he's probably Canada's public enemy #1, and he does not care, and it's amazing. So
That might be
anything that man does is just awesome. Like, it's just phenomenal on the mic, in the ring, you know. And the thing I love about it too is people hate on him. Oh, see him skunk, see him quitter. But notice during that match, nobody was sitting down. Not a single soul is sitting down. Half the crowd's cheering him. Half the crowd's saying CM Punk sucks. Half the other crowd's booing him. They're cheering him. No one was sitting down there on them. It was complete chaos from the crowd. That's amazing. You can't tell me that doesn't give you goosebumps, because that's just cool. It's better for them to make a noise, cheer, boo, whatever, versus them sitting on their pockets, bored, watching some nothing burger match.
With a guy that nobody even knew. Like, all I heard was, who is Sad Yoshi Cold Zima? Like, nobody knew who the fuck the guy was.
What?
Sad Yoshi Cold Zima?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Matt's thing. In case nobody knew.
I mean,
Cam, I like you. We are the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub. You are welcome on at any time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
Matt, Cam, Matt.
Nice
Matt's
to
like
meet
my
you.
consigliere from Chicago. He's my boy. Noob says, I mean, Tony Storm versus Willow Nightingale is all right, but the AEW women's division is not safe at all, and I'm afraid for some of the women in the NWA women's division that want to sign over at AEW, they're going to be injured nonstop. I may be a fan of the Russian Crush herself, Natalia Markova, but I do see her and some women in NWA women's division should have a better future in the WWE. Do you guys think that AEW has a problem with the injury bug, or AEW has a problem with the injury bug because they're not training properly? This kind of ties into the Chris Hero thing coming over. Do we think it's a consistency thing because of production issues, or do we think women are just getting hurt because it's just luck of the draw because it's pro wrestling?
A couple of weeks ago in News and Rumors, there was a story from the women's locker room in AEW that said that they've gotten some new trainers, and the injury issues started when they got these new trainers. So, and that was
happen in WWE?
from
That was a
the locker
WWE
room.
thing.
Yeah, that was NXT.
Oh, was it NXT?
Yeah, it was
Oh, no.
NXT.
Mhm.
But
Just
you're
kidding.
right, it was a couple weeks ago, yeah, but it was WWE having injuries.
Just kidding.
You're tired, right?
I'm fucking exhausted.
You're doing good, too.
I think that AEW pushes their talent in general to get in the ring when they're not fully cleared. Punk recently talked about that they tried to encourage him to do a match when he wasn't fully cleared with Moxley. So, I mean, that could be part of it as well. So, I think that they're not as concerned about their talent sometimes as they should be.
No, they're letting Jeff Hardy wrestle. Clearly, they don't care about their talent.
Well,
It's not wrong.
I think it's just the business of pro wrestling. I mean, what was it, last summer? WWE got hit with the injury bug pretty hard, and everybody was getting hurt. So, I mean, I think it's just the business. Yeah, AEW probably takes some risk with some people. Like, they had the whole Saraya thing. Like, they said she was cleared, and then there was a rumor that she wasn't cleared. So, yeah, they kind of pushed the envelope a little bit just for, I don't know, a pop here and there or something like that, or a storyline, whatever. But yeah, I think it's just the business. It's just rough. It's just brutal, and it's probably more brutal in AEW because they don't have an AEW style. WWE has a WWE style that you have to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just brutal. It's just the nature of the business.
Yeah. My last news in rumors. Well, actually, I have a little sub one.
Don't call Will a sub on the stream. That's not nice.
and it's slightly above average. Please.
Jesus Christ.
Can we talk about Jungle Boy turning and going in the heel door at the end of his match? Like, that was mint.
You mean now he's Jungle Man?
Jungle Man. Well, they've
Jungle
been
Man.
slowly like getting him away from like Jungle Boy, because like at first he was just Jungle Boy, and then he was Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and now like when they're commentating and stuff, they're just calling him Jack Perry. Like it's only Jungle Boy like when he comes out. So like I'm hoping that they like drop the Jungle Boy now. Yes, Matt.
I am 100% referring to anal as coming in the heel door from now on.
Why are you like this? Did you write that down? Are you gonna remember that?
I'll remember that.
Yes.
Don't
Is that going to be your show title for Friday?
worry. No, we have decided that as of right now, the episode title is episode 300. This is Sparta. So
Coming in the heel door is anal. I just wrote that down. I
Noobs.
legitimately wrote it down.
Noob says Jungle Boy Jack Perry is now a heel boy, and he fucked it up big time. Is now a heel and a boy. He fucked it up big time.
Jungle
And boy,
Man
he fucked it
Jack
up,
Perry.
I mean, Taz wanted to kill him.
He did.
I,
And of the 50,000 fucking titles AEW has, he goes for the one that's a fake title.
Listen, I
I
don't
don't
care
even-
about Hook. Sorry.
I don't even think he's necessarily going out. Well, he might be. I don't know. I don't think he's actually going after the FTW title. I think they have the potential, and this is probably far fetched, but they have the potential to have them feud for that title, I guess. But then him like winning, like him beating Hook for the championship, and then him just throwing that title in the garbage, and then them introducing a whole new title that actually means something. I don't know. Just a wild idea. That's probably far fetched, but I don't think he's going after the FPW title. I think he's literally just, breaking out of the whole babyface shell and finally becoming a even more interesting heel character. And I agree with what I think Allison said about him shedding the whole Jungle Boy thing and him just becoming Jack Perry. Like he could be like Hollywood Jack now, Hollywood Jack Perry, whatever. Comes out in a leather jacket and shades, and he's just like a jackass now. So yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. I don't when I think about him turning heel, it's weird because I'm like he's somebody I just never saw ever turning heel. I don't know if his heel turn's gonna be great. I don't know if it's gonna be bad, but I'm curious to see where it goes. They better go full force. I mean, he better get like a haircut and be like, I'm serious. He better be like a complete jackass now, completely different than what he was. So I'm curious to see where it goes.
I'm with you, except for throwing the trash in the title. Do not, or the title in the trash. The trash in the title, the title in the trash.
It's awesome.
Rename it the FYF title and never defend it. The fuck your feelings title and just never defend it.
So like it is now. Can we throw Hook in the trash?
Sleepy Justin Bieber?
Nepotism Hook. That's what I'm going to call him from now
Nepotism Hook.
Nepo-
on. Nepotism Hook.
Uh-huh. Taz said that Hook is made for WWE, which I think is ridiculous.
He's made to be like in the 24/7 division of WWE.
That doesn't exist anymore.
I could see what Taz is talking about, especially when you look at guys that are having so much success like Austin Theory, despite the backlash for Austin Theory. Hook is... I don't like the way he's presented in AEW. Like, he's fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. He just comes down and wrecks dudes and leaves all the time because he's like 90 pounds soaking wet.
Yep.
However, he has a look about him that is going to be appealing to a mass audience, especially a younger audience that they're trying to attract and get. And presented with the proper character, I could see him doing it very well in WWE.
Plus, it's Taz. Like, that's his dad. Obviously, he's going to put him over in, like, the best way he can.
Right.
I guess that's true.
My last thing, Trinity Fatu, Charlotte Flair, and Liv Morgan are all going to be appearing in the biopic The Queen of the Ring, centered around Mildred Burke.
Hey, she's that lady that they've made a title in the NWA for.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Tombstone
Nice.
title.
Yeah.
Tombstone.
Way to go, Matt. Yes.
Yeah,
Matt.
that's right.
Proud of
See,
you.
Matt knows NWA wrestling.
I know
Oh,
that
yeah.
while I'm on Botched Spots and Chair Shots, I'm only supposed to say nice things about NWA wrestling, so I say that I know what the Burke is, and that's as far as we go.
So, I think it'll be good. as much as, I mean, y'all don't like Charlotte, but as much as I love Charlotte, I'm unsure of her acting skills.
If I were a betting man, I would be 90% sure that Charlotte will probably play Fabulous Moolah.
She's too tall.
Moolah wasn't short.
I'm just keeping my mouth shut.
I thought Moolah was short.
No. I would also bet Trinity
You
Fatu
shrink when you get older.
That's true.
You shrink. I would also venture to say I would think that Trinity Fatu is probably playing Sweet Georgia Brown as well. Thinking about historic wrestlers at the time. Liv, maybe. No, that's too early for Leilani Kai. What was the... I can't remember her name.
Who's playing Mildred Berg?
I don't know. The Native American.
it up now.
What was the Native American's name? I can't remember her name now. But it's going to be cool. I think it'll be fun. Matt doesn't know anything about 1950s NWA wrestling.
Noob says, I do have a rumor, and that's related to Natalia Markova. She posted a post on Instagram about her wanting to get signed a contract to a major wrestling promotion this year. Might be the year. Which wrestling promotion do you want to see her in? He says he'd like to see her in WWE versus AEW, but they have a hiring freeze, so that sucks.
Impact.
Okay. I have a dream, right? And in my dream, now I understand why Noob wants Natalia Markova and how because I follow him on Twitter. I know how he feels about the Russian Crush. I know why he wants to see her succeed over in WWE over AEW. However, going forward, if Tony Khan is going to insist on being on my TV and making announcements and doing things, I need him to start coming out to White Girl by Young Jeezy. And I need them to remix it with, just give him like a flock of women like Natalia. And instead of like, I keep that white girl, Christina Aguilera, could be Natalia Markova. Like, we'll remix it with the white women in AEW that escort him out to the ring.
Why are you like this?
Thank you. I'm glad I didn't have to say it.
He loves Coke. That's on him, not me.
I'm more of a Dr. Pepper man personally, but
God fucking damn it.
Alright, I'm done.
You're done. She's like, I'm done. That's
She's
it.
like, I can't.
You
right.
invited me here. Just remember that.
This is 50% your fault. Can everybody open the stream or see the stream in some way? Like the other
Like
four
the
of you?
stream?
Yeah, can you like pull it like on Twitch or something so you can see it?
Why?
Because he wants to show pictures.
I've got to show some pictures.
Well, okay, I'll pull it up.
We're going to play a game.
I don't like games. As I play trivia, like every fucking week you have it.
I like trivia. We're bringing it back.
Is this Guess the New Japan wrestler?
Sort of.
No, it's like Forbidden
God.
Door. I was thinking, guys, it's Forbidden Door. So I got some this or that action going. I'm going to show you 2 Forbidden Door moments in wrestling, and you guys are going to pick between the 2 of them. And I am so excited for some of these. So we're going to start with my first one. And I thought WWE would be a good place to start because WWE, the Forbidden Door, they haven't opened it too many times. So I thought Hardcore Country and Double J Jeff Jarrett. 1998, Jeff Jarrett opened the Forbidden Door and he entered the Royal Rumble as the NWA North American Champion. And in 2021, I believe, Mickey James came in as the Impact's Knockouts Champion. So having to pick between these 2, this or that, are you going to take Jeff Jarrett coming in as a champion in the Forbidden Door or Mickey James as a champion in the Forbidden Door?
Are you serious?
Mickey James.
Mickey
Right.
James.
Yeah.
Kidding?
Cam's still on my good side. 100% Mickey James.
Kidding me?
Why would we ever pick Jeff Jarrett in anything?
I can't stand Jeff Jarrett.
This is exactly why I did this. I was just like, I wanted to see your guys' reactions. Okay.
I will give this to Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett has a knack for stealing other women's wives. Like, he's got something going on. He stole Mongo's wife down in WCW before she went to WWE and realized that she could get with a real star like Stone Cold, and that didn't go well for her, but we're not talking about that tonight. Stole Kurt Angle's wife. Like, he has that. However, Mickie James assaulted Trish Stratus on the WrestleMania stage in a moment that I will never forget. It will be Trish or Mickie 100 times. It'll probably be Mickie over everyone that you put up on here. Like, she also has a past of pictures that she took prior to getting into WWE that are also burned into my brain. So yeah, Mickie over everybody.
I love Mickie James. She's maybe my favorite female wrestler of all time, not named Charlotte Flair.
One day, Katie. One day.
No.
Listen, we coined a new phrase on Smackin It Raw on Friday, thanks to a little brief stint over in the ShElite showcase. And hating Charlotte Flair is 100% the cock that Katie is going to gag on.
Very eloquent. That was nailed. I like it. I see the symbolism there. Like, yeah.
We don't do the hill you're going to die on anymore.
No. Solid. How do I even segue off of it? Let's talk about Great Muta now. No.
I mean, he spits.
He does. See, perfect segue. There's a picture of Great Muta spitting on Sting when he broke the Forbidden Door down and came into WCW, and Sting went to Japan and they fought. Then in 2023, Great Muta opened the Forbidden Door and WWE sent Shinsuke Nakamura over to Japan in Pro Wrestling Noah. Which one are you guys going to pick? Are you going to take Great Muta and Sting's Forbidden Door or Shinsuke and Great Muta through this Forbidden Door?
I'm going to pick Shinsuke because he kissed Muta and like completely threw him off. And it was hilarious.
For the gays.
For the gays and the theys.
Hell yeah.
I get the appeal of Sting versus Muta because they have a history. However, in 2023, 2022, whenever the fuck it happened, Shinsuke's stint over in Japan kind of, I feel like, revitalized him after doing this. And we saw a little bit of that recently here in WWE. I definitely feel like it did more for him. So I'm also going to go Shinsuke Muta.
Shinsuke Muta. I'm going to pick Shinsuke Muta. I like this version. I think Muta getting his roses and doing the farewell tour was cool because he wrestled for a lot of good promotions in the last 12 months.
Also, when did Sting wrestle in purple trunks?
Looking at the ropes, that's definitely going to be...
Like, I have that underwear. Like,
from the waist down, that's what I'm wearing right now. I don't even have pants on. I'm just in purple Sting tights.
Cam's like, why the fuck am I on with these crazy ass people?
Cam's like, can I go?
All right, so we're all picking Shinsuke Muta?
Wait, Cam did
did Cam not pick? I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Cam.
no, I agree with that. It definitely revitalized Shinsuke, you know, in his short stint back in New Japan. So yeah, I would go Shinsuke Muta as well.
All right, 2 Muta Forbidden Door moments, followed by 2 Chris Jericho Forbidden Door moments. We got Chris Jericho and Naito from Wrestle Kingdom a few years back when he was the Painmaker Chris Jericho versus Chris Jericho and Murder Grandpa and Sammy G versus Sting and Mini Sting and Naito.
So I'm gonna probably be amongst the few here when I say this, but Chris Jericho is my GOAT. He's the one I think is the greatest of all time.
That's where you lost Matt. I seen it on his face. I saw it on his face.
Listen, Chris Jericho is my GOAT. I'm sorry, but I got to go with Chris Jericho. When he was the Painmaker, this again it was another reinvention of Chris Jericho, and I thought it was great. And him and Naito, they went to wars. So I'm going to go with Chris Jericho easily.
I feel like Chris Jericho looks like a reject from A Clockwork Orange. In this photo, like, what?
He looks like Art the Clown from Terrifier.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
No, he does.
And then last night's match was like Darby into Old Fucks and Sammy Guevara into Old Fucks.
Is Titty Tornado old?
Titty Tornado?
Her.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, like I'm not even phased by any of this. I hear this shit every week.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna pick New Japan Chris Jericho just because like he kind of looks like a Clockwork Orange reject in that photo, and I guarantee you that was probably a much better match than what happened last night.
Last night's match was fucking garbage. I went to make myself a snack. I came back, that match was still on and was terrible. I didn't even see any entrances. I missed the whole thing, but from what I saw was fucking garbage. So just for that alone, I'll pick Insane Clown Posse, Chris Jericho, and Titty Tornado, New Japan.
Insane Clown Posse and Titty Tornado.
Listen, I don't want to pick either. However,
I know, I didn't want to pick one either. I had to.
I was looking at it, and there's far more people in the six-man tags that I really don't like Sammy and Darby and Jericho in and of himself, as opposed to singles match. But now Juggalo Jericho being a thing, I'm picking that one. I want Juggalo Jericho.
Juggalo Jericho.
Yeah.
I mean, find a
Des
lie.
is dead by the ICP comment. She was not prepared to be ICP in a wrestling show tonight. I love Juggalo Jericho. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. He's not Painmaker anymore. He's Juggalo Jericho.
As a matter of fact, it makes sense because I heard that when his wife was watching January 6th from the sidelines, they were drinking Faygo, so it all makes sense.
Well.
It's all connecting.
Okay. This one, I specifically put this one in here for Matt.
Oh no.
It's Kenta and Jon Moxley. When Moxley opened the Forbidden Door and won the U.S. Heavyweight title, and Kenta came into AEW, and then they went back and forth between AEW and New Japan and back and forth, and then Kenta eventually got the title from him. And then last night we got CM Punk and Satsu Kojima.
Said Yoshi Kozima.
So Kenta came over to fight Moxley, but Kenta wouldn't come over to fight CM Punk.
Because he wouldn't get the bag.
Oh, Hideo Itami. Yeah, that one.
Yes. Hideo Itami.
I like Hideo Itami. That one.
Hideo Itami?
You're picking Hideo Itami over CM Phil? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, CM Phil wrestled a guy I'd never heard of prior to CM Phil saying his name. I'm both familiar with Jon Moxley and Hideo Itami, so.
Of course you would call him.
And NXT name, yeah, 100%. And also, you know, in homage to the greatest wrestler of all time in Chicago, Hideo Itami was using his finisher, so like, good for him.
You know, CM Punk.
I know you're gonna say some things that aren't true. That's
No,
right.
he just said it in an interview. Like,
Bakley says hi, Matt.
on a podcast, Punk admitted that he stole that finisher.
Because he's a nice person and he doesn't want to cause conflict with New Japan, so he's telling them what they need to hear. We all know who did it, who won world titles with it, who's the best.
Who did it?
Best in the world.
No, that's All-American Dragon, Jake Long, Bryan Danielson. According to
You
last
mean the
night.
guy who got broken the other night?
He still won the match.
He did.
He got broken?
And still
Yeah.
wrestled for 30
Yeah,
more
he
minutes.
finished a 45-minute match with a broken forearm.
Who did he wrestle again?
The Rainmaker.
Katsukuchi. Yeah, that's right.
Cat.
Again, you guys, I deal with this shit on the daily.
Didn't Punk get broken at all out? See, Bakley asked the tough
Ooh,
questions
got
there
him.
for you, Mateo.
Get him.
I really want to add a category to trivia. Is it New Japan or is it Matt Ridder?
Where we just put names and just make up names. Matt, we need 7 New Japan names. Go. And he'll just start rattling them off.
He has 7.
I'm sure he does. All right, last one. Forbidden Door, the AEW New Japan, or the 1994 crossover between WCW and AAA that eventually led to the Luchador invasion with Psychosis and Ray and Eddie and all of these guys coming in the 90s. Do you take AEW and New Japan, or are you thinking WCW and AAA?
Well, obviously, I'm taking Forbidden Door in New Japan because I wasn't born in '84, so yeah.
94.
Oh, 90. I still wasn't born, so.
Fuck, Cam, I was 9 years old in 94,
born,
dude.
so.
Wait, when were you born?
Cam, when were you born?
I was born in 95.
96.
Katie's still the youngest.
I'm gonna pick WCW and AAA because I feel like it was more impactful to wrestling.
Impact's not in the show.
Not Impact. Fuck.
Impact.
What? Wait.
I'm old, I'm tired, and I'm working with fucking children.
Hey.
It was more impactful for wrestling, so.
I know you said that, but I heard Impact and...
Yeah, no, I know, and then, like, my brain exploded, and I had no idea what I had just said.
She was like, did I say Impact Wrestling?
Like, wait, what?
That company failed, so I'll go with the only 2 companies that are still alive. Thank you, Dan.
All right, so here's where I'm at. WCW didn't get good until Cam was 2 years old, roughly. A year and a half, 2 years old. However, despite all of the things I've said, there is a lot of AEW that I do enjoy, and some of these New Japan wrestlers are very talented in ring. And I know that there are a lot of people that are really like I said, Will says it all the time, we don't yuck any yums. I'm not a fan of something. It doesn't mean I'm gonna like, oh, it sucks, it's terrible, it's awful. I'm not gonna say that. There were a lot of people excited about Forbidden Door. There were a lot of people that loved the show, even though it was like 100 hours long. So as much as I joke about CM Punk and then Hideo Itami and all that stuff, I'm actually gonna go with Forbidden Door as well. Because despite doing this, it took them 3 years to really get any traction after doing this with what they did at When Worlds Collide.
Wow. Matt, that was very well put.
Growth.
Not one penis joke, not one fart joke, nothing. That was golf clap.
He's a man of honor.
He basically said it as soon as I did.
I had to prove to Cam that I'm not just all dick jokes. Like,
see, he does actually. He does know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Listen, I work with a guy named Shadow who's just like you, so I should be used to it by now.
All right, well that's it. You guys don't have to play any more silly games with me. I just had to come up with something, and I was like, what are we gonna do tonight? We'll do something fun. We'll play this or that, and I'll make you guys choose between pay-per-views you're not old enough to have seen. Went moderately well. But the good news is, now we just got to do the fun part. I'm going to tell you guys to plug yourselves and put yourselves over. Cam, I'm going to start with you because you're the newest one around these parts. So plug yourself. Put yourself over. Tell everybody where to find you.
Okay, so you can find me on TikTok at Cam's Wrestling Corner. You can find me on my other TikTok page that has nothing to do with wrestling at all, at Call Me Cam G. And if that doesn't sizzle your bacon, you can find me on Instagram at 317 Bacon Eggs and Cam.
Bacon, Eggs, and Cam. Best Instagram name ever.
That's nice.
Mateo.
I was going to let Katie go. That's how we normally do it.
Oh, Katie.
Okay. I guess I'll go. You can follow me on Twitter at KatieRowson13. The link to I'm about to take all things ShElite Showcase. Twitch.tv/ShElite Showcase, typically Thursdays, 6 p.m. Eastern. YouTube.com/ShElite Showcase. Watch videos because they're way more entertaining. Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts if you want to listen. And on Thursday, before we record, a panel I did with 5 fantastic ladies is coming out. They ranked... It was just them. I was just the moderator. I'm just putting that out there because they created a top 5 list of...
I have the weirdest boner right now ever.
Jesus Christ. they created a top 5 women's champions from 2000s till now. He does this every week. This is nothing new. Yeah, so that'll be out YouTube only on Thursday. So.
Why are y'all blushing? Matt starts getting his pump on, and Allison and Katie both start blushing.
No,
Honestly,
you cut me off, and that's why.
Honestly, like, I was looking at Katie and not paying any attention to what Matt was doing, and then you made your comment, I was like, what? And then I looked down. So
Exactly. Like, that's nothing. Matt has done that at least 3 times in the past 3 shows I've done with him, so, like, that's nothing new.
Getting buff.
Seeing as my shoulders made an entrance and distracted from it, I am the patron saint of podcasting, the Warden Matt Ridder, host of the #1 wrestling podcast on Pornhub, Smackin It Raw. You can follow me on Twitter only at Matt Ridder, @MattRidder, #RidderOverRiddle. Or if you want to follow us for horror content, I also have Getting Off, the #1 horror podcast on Pornhub. It's available everywhere else podcasts are available, but it's also available on Pornhub. Probably the only podcast you guys can find on Pornhub. So go to pornhub.com/models/creationworld and check us out. And this Friday, live here on Twitch and YouTube and wherever else you're watching, is our 300th episode. So come join us for the celebration. I'll be dropping invites to all the people I love so that they can hop on if they're free and come have a little party with us to celebrate 300 episodes, almost 6 years of doing this shit.
Wow.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Al?
you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and the Tweeters at justagirl918. I've been really slacking on. God damn it, Matt. I've been really slacking on the content as of late. Life has been crazy, but I am going to do my best. I am in search of a Jimmy and Jay Usos action figures. So if anybody wants to part with their Jimmy and Jay action figures, please hit up the DMs. I have an idea for a spin-off of my comic strip, The Heel Support Group, which will be making a triumphant return this week. Yes. Woohoo! So, yeah, make sure you're following all the things in all the places.
Because I'm bald?
Matt looking like a hybrid Ryback and Bray Wyatt.
I am way smarter than Ryback. Thank you very much.
Make sure you follow everybody here. My shout-outs this week. Follow Fine Tuned Wrestling. That's Dad316, Miss Dawn, Ringside Ed, Liz, Willie. Follow Creation World with Travis and SES Vince, Katie and Matt, Mara. Follow the Bloodline Entertainment Network. That's Bakley and Tim and Circle of Debate and UW Pod. Follow Off the Top Media. That's Cam and Shadow and Jamie and Scowls and the rest of the boys and Nate. Follow the Kickout Crew. Follow all of our friends. Follow everybody. Housekeeping stuff here. If you have Amazon Prime, use that Amazon Prime subscription. Gift it to us. Gift it to Katie. Gift it to Off the Top. Gift it to Creation World. Gift it to somebody. Don't give it back to Amazon. Discord. Subscribe to the Discord. Talk to people. Have fun. For the merch, check out the merch links. Angry Lemonade. All of that stuff. We are also starting this week. We're going to slowly be going through a merger where Rivet City Radio is expanding a little bit. We're bringing on Off the Top Wrestling, Off the Top Rope Media. We're bringing on the Broken Wrestling Podcast. So they'll be joining us. They'll be joining the boys at Dirty Belly, Nerdy News. It's all going to be working under a big umbrella, very similar to what you guys do over at Creation World, Mateo. So we're really happy to have announced that tonight. So over the next week or two, you'll see some new faces kind of coming up, some new stuff on the schedule and everything going on. So some cool stuff happening. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I mean, despite his opinions on Jericho, Cam was fantastic, and I really, really want to meet the Shadow character now that I've heard about him. So
I think you and Shadow...
You would get along perfectly. I know it.
I'm going to put you and Shadow on the same episode, and it might be even a good episode for Horror Movies and Waffles. That would be great to get Shadow on an episode of that with you. Yep. But now, as we close another episode of Botched and Chair Shots, I'm going to take a minute. Thank you for listening. Remind you to go wherever you do anything on the internet. Like, follow, subscribe, unsubscribe, and then subscribe again. Leave a comment telling me how great I am or how beautiful Mateo is. Either way, it helps the algorithm. It helps find new listeners. If you're feeling really generous, be one of the VIP people. Head over to patreon.com and donate to the Rivet City Radio Podcast Network. You get some fantastic swag. We get some fantastic guests. It's a win-win for my boy Cam G, for the Warden Matt Ridder, for Katie Wrestling 13, Miss Katie Kinsey, baby, and for the Boss Bitch Owl. I'm D. Will Gray. Thanks for stopping by and listening, my people.
Bye-bye.
Bye.